Hello and welcome to the Coast to Coast Show. I'm your anchor, Nate Smith. October is now in full swing, and every major sport is relevant once again. MLB playoffs are heating up, and the NFL is almost to the midway point. Not to mention, the NHL regular season is finally here, and NBA tip-off is just around the corner. We have a lot to get to, but we'll start with a little football talk. Here to help me break it all down is Matt Stolbof and Jacob Lev. How are you doing, fellas?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right.
Outstanding.
Giants looked not too hot yesterday, so.
Giants did not look good on Thursday Night Football.
Except
That
for
is
Saquon.
That
Are
is
you
very
surprised?
true.
Not anymore.
All right, let's get right into it. At this point in the season, we only have two remaining undefeated NFL teams. We have the Los Angeles Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs. Matt, I'll start with you. Who's better and why?
I think it's the Rams, and I think it's by a good amount. I mean, both teams offensively are pretty even. Mahomes, he's looking like Aaron Rodgers right now. He's probably the best quarterback in the league this season. And the Rams just have great offense. Gurley's probably arguably one of the best running backs in the league, and they get a receiving core. The big thing, though, is the defense that really stands out. You look at the Rams, they have Sue, they have Lamarcus Joyner, they have Marcus Peters, they have a great Aaron Donald's one of the best, every position they have someone there. It's just a great defense, and they've shown it this year. The Chiefs, though, not so much. They're the 19th worst defense in the league, or they give up the 19th most points, the 11th most points in the league. My bad. Give up over 340 passing yards a game, which is second worst in the NFL. When you're playing the tough teams like an LA Rams, which though I think they play later in the season, right, Jacob?
Yeah, they do.
Play the Rams later. It's gonna cause trouble, and they've played teams that haven't had great defenses. The Chiefs, once they start playing tougher competition, probably get a loss for LA.
Jacob, what are your thoughts?
So just piggybacking off of what Stolbof said, they do play in Mexico City on Monday night on November 19th. That should be a very exciting game.
Should be.
But I'm also going to say the Rams here. The Chiefs, look, Mahomes has looked very, very good these first couple weeks of the season. Can he keep it up? That's a question that we're going to find out. Last week against the Jaguars, kind of struggled, but struggling in his aspect. He still threw for 300-plus yards.
Right.
The Chiefs' defense is going to be a problem, I think, going forward. They lost Marcus Peters, not lost, but they traded Marcus Peters to the Rams. So now their number one corner is Kendall Fuller, who I don't know if he can, take you to a Super Bowl and help, man down that defense. I'm going to say the Rams are still the better team, offensively, defensively. Wait till they get Greg Zuerlein back, their kicker, too, which is only going to help.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with both of you guys. I think the Rams are by maybe quite a bit better than the Chiefs. I agree with you. I don't think Fuller is the number one corner. I think he's better probably in the slot.
He's a slot cornerback.
Yeah, and so their secondary is probably the worst part about that Chiefs defense, and they're giving up a league worst 462 yards a game. So something's got to change. When you get into the AFC playoffs, you face someone like the Steelers, someone like the Patriots.
And the Patriots this week.
This week, exactly.
Even the Jags
see it on
could be dangerous too. You saw
offensively,
it last week.
The Jags are very inconsistent, but sometimes Bortles will put up a 35-point game.
Also, let's not forget to mention Eric Berry's been hurt, so maybe when he gets back, it could improve this defense a little bit.
Think by how much though?
He is one of the better safeties in the league.
I understand, but they'll still
they'll
be light years away from Rams secondary.
Oh, easily. And I think this offseason, Andy Reid's going to have to go back to the drawing board on this defense and maybe improve the linebackers a little bit.
All right, let's move it on to the fantasy segment here. So what we'll do is we'll tell you one player to start this week where you like their matchup. Jacob, we'll start with you. Who should we start this week in fantasy football?
I'm going to go Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver. He's had a quietly pretty good season so far, 426 yards, 3 touchdowns, playing with Ryan Fitzpatrick as the quarterback too. So I don't know. I feel like Winston's starting this week, so I think that could benefit him a lot. The Falcons' D has lost a lot of their star players. Keanu Neal, Dion White. I just don't know if they could really match up with this team. And Mike Evans is just a physically imposing wide receiver. I think he's going to give Desmond Trufant and this Falcons secondary a hard time.
I agree. Matt, what are your thoughts here?
So I'm really hoping he does well because I'm starting him myself in fantasy this week. I'm doing Doug Baldwin against Oakland. It's in Oakland, but the number one concern I think
it's in London actually. I think.
Yeah. That's right. The game is in London. I totally forgot about that. So the game is in London, but what's the number one problem with Seattle's offense? It's that O-line. The O-line has struggled all year.
It's really bad.
Luckily, though, the last 5 years.
Luckily, though, since the Raiders have traded Khalil Mack, they have the worst D-line in the league. Oakland's only had 6 sacks this whole year. Last in the NFL by far, not even close. And the Oakland D has been struggling too, third to last in points per game. Doug Baldwin was coming off an injury. Really, didn't really get a lot of. He only got one target. He got one target last week against the Rams for 1 yard. So a lot of people were concerned about him, but it was against LA. Like I said, coming off that injury, Baldwin is Russell Wilson's #1 receiver. So I'm bound to see a breakout game. I don't see why not now. Both teams are away. Oakland's defense is not great. I see a big game for him this week.
I'm going to stick with the receiver trends. Looks like we got 3 receivers here. I'm going Tyler Boyd from the Cincinnati Bengals. 3 out of their past 4 games, he's had over 90 yards, and he plays against the Steelers at home, who ranked 29th in fantasy against receivers this year. Their defense does. So Andy Dalton's actually looked really good under Bill Lazor's new offense with them, and obviously A.J. Green's been the undisputed one for a while now, but they really haven't had a strong #2 receiver for a while, and it looks like he's filling it nicely in that role. Okay, quickly here as we wrap up this segment, we'll go to a betting portion. Tell me what game you like this week the most and what side you're taking. Jacob, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go Green Bay. They're minus 9.5 against San Francisco. This San Francisco team, it's unfortunate what happened to them. They lost their quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, to a freak ACL injury. I wouldn't say freak, but it was still a devastating injury. And also, this Packers defense is a young defense. They have a lot to prove. They drafted 2 corners last year in Jair Alexander and Josh Jackson. I can see them taking advantage of C.J. Beathard this week.
I'd have to agree with you. Matt, what's your pick here?
So I've heard this tip in betting is if you really don't feel in your gut, go bet it. I'm going to bet the Bills plus 10. It's in Houston against the Texans.
Okay.
I know. But Houston is 1-4 against the spread this year. That's my one thing. And honestly, did we expect the Bills to cover against the Vikings a few weeks ago? Did we expect the Bills to win against Tennessee? They tend to do all right against the spread recently, and I'm just going to stick with the trend. I mean, it's kind of a why not pick for me, so I'm just going to go Bills plus 10. Hopefully I win some money off it.
Did you see Josh Allen last week?
I understand, but did
83
we
yards
think
passing?
he'd do what he did against the Vikings, D? I mean, maybe. We'll see.
So to wrap it up here, I'll go with the Los Angeles Chargers. I think it's just a great value right here. They're -1, and I saw actually earlier this morning, they're all the way down to a pick'em. They're at Cleveland. Basically what it boils down to me, two solid defenses, and if it's between Baker Mayfield and Phillip Rivers, I'll take Phillip every single day.
When was the last time the Chargers played the Browns? Did they lose?
They did, I think. It was
that game?
It was a couple years ago. But just a quick couple nuggets. Chargers 4-2 against the spread, their last 6 on the road. And Cleveland is 2-6 straight up in its last 8 games against the Chargers. So just looking at those 2 trends, I like the Chargers and just think they have a better team. Well, that's about all the time we have for NFL. Although football is the most popular sport in America, all eyes were on Khabib versus McGregor last Saturday night. We are joined now by Jackson Nelson as he takes us from the gridiron to the octagon.
The UFC 229 pay-per-view is main evented by possibly the most anticipated fight in the promotion's history. Khabib Nurmagomedov put his lightweight championship and his undefeated record on the line against the most polarizing fighter the UFC has ever seen in Conor McGregor. Prior to McGregor's first UFC fight in nearly 2 years, he did his usual pre-match antics by getting under Khabib's skin, but Conor probably took his best shots at Khabib with the microphone rather than his fists. Khabib was the favorite heading into the fight, and it showed throughout the bout. Khabib took down Conor countless times and was able to exploit his lackluster ground game and force a submission finish in the 4th round. But the intensity in the octagon was not even close to the intensity outside of it. Following the fight, Khabib jumped out of the cage and attacked Conor's teammate Dylan Dennis, while a member of Khabib's team jumped into the cage to attack McGregor. The scene got so chaotic that both men had to go back to the locker room before the official decision was made. Multiple arrests were made following the incident, and suspensions have been handed out to both fighters, and the length of the suspensions will be given in the near future. But according to Dana White, one thing is certain: Khabib will absolutely not be stripped of his title. As for Conor McGregor, he took to Twitter and said the following tweet: "Good knock, looking forward to the rematch." For Coast to Coast Sports, I'm Jackson Nelson. Back to you, Nate.
Thank you, Jackson. Now we will take a look at the Major League Baseball playoff picture, where only 4 teams remain. Joining me now at the desk is James Johnson and Alex Weiner. So guys, we got the Astros and the Red Sox, we got the Brewers and the Dodgers. Let's start with the ALCS. Do we think the Red Sox bullpen can handle this, or will they blow it? We'll start with you.
Here's the thing. These 2 teams are very similar offensively with the star power that they have. On the starting rotation, I'll give the Astros the edge there, but the bullpen is where they really sort of separate themselves away from Boston. Boston's bullpen was better against the Yankees, although Kimbrel had a very shaky last inning in Game 4, which caused a Red Sox fan I was watching the game with to have a panic attack. But regardless, the Astros bullpen is just incredible. It's been the best bullpen in the major leagues this year for the most part, And the Red Sox, they're just not as deep. They have a lot of guys who have performed better as of late, but I don't know if they have that guy other than Kimbrel that you can really rely on in the 8th inning.
I agree. James, what are your thoughts on the bullpen comparison?
I agree with Alex. I think if I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm really concerned with how they've looked so far this postseason. I mean, like you said, Kimbrel looked really shaky in his last outing. Like, I was watching that game and I was thinking they're going to blow this game. Like, I thought that was the moment that the series turned. They ended up getting out of it, but it was really concerning for me. Like, if I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm thinking that we need to rely on our starters a lot more in the series. Like Chris Sale and the rest of their guys, they need to have a good series. Otherwise, I think they're in trouble because, like you said, like they separate themselves. Houston separates themselves from Boston. The fact that their bullpen is just better.
All right, just real quickly, we'll finish up on the other side of the bracket on the NL side. We got the Red Hot Brewers, the LA Dodgers visiting the Red Hot Brewers. Alex, we'll start with you. Brewers are red hot, 11 in a row. Who wins this series?
I am actually not going to take the Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers have been outstanding to end the season. They just blew away the Colorado Rockies. But I love the experience this Dodger team has. Yeah. They lost Seager, and instead of saying, okay, this is not the season we're going to compete, they went out and got Manny Machado. The bullpen has looked better, especially as the season has gone on. And I think the starting rotation is where they really have it because Ryu has been spectacular this season while healthy, and he's been terrific in the playoffs so far. Kershaw is Kershaw, and you have Walker Buehler, the rookie who's been spectacular this season, and you still have a couple more guys for that depth like Rich Hill and Alex Wood. I just think the starting rotation is really deep, and in games that maybe one starter struggles, you can bring in a different one because they have that depth. I'm going to go with the Dodgers here, but I think it's very close.
And James, real quickly, we're running out of time here, but what's your prediction in this series?
I think it's a toss-up, but I'm going to go with the Brewers just because I think they have the home field advantage, and they've got a back end of that bullpen that I think is going to lead them through that series.
Now we will transition from the baseball diamond back to the gridiron. Each college football season, the Heisman Trophy is awarded to the best player in the country. We will toss it over to our college football analyst, Jacob Lev, to tell us who that man is.
Welcome to week 7 of the college football season. You know what that means. We are more than halfway done with the season. But wait, there's more. That means we're getting closer to the time we find out who joins that exclusive fraternity known as the Heisman. The past 6 weeks have showed us that there are a lot of worthy candidates, with West Virginia QB Will Grier leading the charge. However, a new name is the new frontrunner in my book, and that's Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. He has led Bama to a 6-0 record and 1,495 passing yards with 18 touchdowns and no interceptions. This week, Bama faces Missouri. If Tua keeps this up, he might not just be the Heisman winner, but a 2-time national champion. Back to you, Nate.
And now, to wrap things up, we will shift our attention to the most entertaining sports league around, this thing we call the NBA. To help break us down with the recent chaos, we have Erik Ruby and Vaughan Jones.
Hello.
All right, guys, we are pressed for time, so we'll get right into it. Season is just around the corner. Erik, we'll start with you. What are you looking forward to most about this NBA season?
Well, personally, I think it was a really exciting offseason, but one thing that caps it off is a lot of the young players, young talent, especially the rookie class. I mean, DeAndre Ayton, Luka Doncic, Jaren Jackson Jr., Trae Young. I could go on and on. This might be the deepest draft we've seen in a really long time.
Maybe not Trae Young.
Maybe not Trae Young. We'll see. He hit that game
Hit
winner.
a logo shot.
Yeah,
You see
did
that?
the logo,
Come on.
yeah.
But also second-year players too. Jason Tatum,
Yep.
Markelle Fultz, Josh Jackson. These are guys that can take that next step. A lot of young talent in the league, and we'll get into it more once the NBA season goes on.
Oh, yeah.
But expect a sort of like a young, almost revolution in the NBA. All these young guys taking over.
Yeah, you kind of worry about a sophomore slump for some of those guys, but at the same time, you want to see them do well. You want to see Tatum do well, Mitchell, guys like that. Technically Ben Simmons, technically Ben Simmons. But I'm mostly excited about the Eastern Conference this year. LeBron is now gone. The Raptors have Kawhi Leonard. The Celtics are prime and ready. The Sixers are prime and ready. We have a very good crop of talent coming out of the Eastern Conference, and those bottom teams may really be the bottom, like Orlando and Atlanta, but a lot of those teams are competitive. The Cavs could still be good this year. You have a lot of teams that you're like, you could make, Indiana. You have a lot of teams that you could make that 1 through 6 spot.
Yeah,
and I think
and,
that 1 through 6 spot's going to be really interesting to watch.
And almost every single team in the league has that one guy that's exciting
there's
to
the
watch.
one
There's
guy,
not going to be really any boring games this year.
It's competitive.
Even if you
League
don't
Pass
like
is a good
basketball,
investment. Yeah, League
Even
Pass
if
is a
you-
good investment.
If you don't like basketball that much, it should still be fun. It should be fun to watch because there's going to be that one guy on every team that's going to light it up every night.
Unless you watch Sacramento put up 35 points after 2 quarters.
All right, let's do that. But that's preseason. We'll get more about the NBA later, but that's just preseason. Should be a really fun and exciting 2018-2019 season.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think I can speak for all of us. Say we're all looking forward to it, and should be a great season as always. That'll just about do it for this week's episode of Coast to Coast Show. As always, we appreciate your viewership, and we hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you next week.